We're going to create the GIF for Jonas Salk inside of Photoshop using the files that were provided. We'll start by creating a document that is 1382 pixels by 772 pixels, or 19.194 inches by 10.806 inches. Next, we're going to import the picture of the virus and the American flag. And I'm going to copy and paste them into that file I just made. Select all by hitting Command A, or going to Select All. Edit Copy, clicking on the untitled new file, and going back to Edit, Paste. Once I have it in, I'll close out the original. Now I'm going to select the virus. Select All, Edit Copy, and in the untitled, Edit Paste. Now that I have layers, I need to save this. I'll go to File, Save. Now if we were to look at the finished picture, you can see that the background is half the American flag and half the virus. I'll select the virus, hitting V on the keyboard. I'll put it down so it's halfway over the document. I'll put a layer mask on it, and I'll hit B for brush. I'm going to make the hardness of the brush 0. And I'll make the brush size 250. And then I'll drag across the top of the virus picture to blend in with the flag below. Now we're going to get the picture of Jonas Salk. I'll select his picture and put it in Photoshop. I just want his head and suit. I'll hit W on the keyboard, and I'm going to choose the Quick Select brush. If we look at the tools that W will give us, it's the magic wand, and when I left mouse click, there's Quick Select. Now I have two options. I can select the background if I choose, or the image. I'll make my brush size bigger, about 100 pixels, and then I'll select Jonas Salk as closely as I can. Sometimes it's good to zoom in on these so that the brush can be seen and the selection can be seen more clearly. Once I have a rough selection, I'm going to go to the bottom of the toolbar, and I'm going to click on the icon that appears to be a box with an elliptical selection tool in it. And it will make my image where it's selected a color, red or green depending on the color you chose. Now I've missed quite a bit, so I'm going to hit B on the keyboard, and I'll make the hardness 100%. And I'll make my brush considerably smaller, about 90 pixels, and now I'll paint in where I missed. I'll click back on the Quick Select icon, and now with the ants around my subject, I'll go to Edit, Copy, and Edit, Paste. I'll take a moment now to name my layers. I'll double click on the layer name in the layer window, and for the man I'll put in Salk, and then I'll put in virus, and I'll put in flag. Now the background is going to be flat for our animation, so I'm going to merge these two. So if I select the virus above, and I go to the upper right hand corner of the layer window, there are a series of horizontal lines. When I click on it, I'll see the option down towards the bottom to merge down. Selecting Salk, I'll hit Command T to transform, and if I right click inside, I can flip horizontal. Next we'll bring in these pictures, crop them, and place them around the composition. Clicking on the picture with the little girl and Jonas Salk, I'll bring that into Photoshop. And I'm going to cut just part of this. I don't need a lot of the file on the left and the right. Hitting M on the keyboard, I'll go to my marquee and I'll use the rectangle marquee. I'll click and drag, keeping most of the girl, and then cropping just to the right of Jonas Salk's ear. I'll go to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. And I'm going to scale that down. Hitting Command T on the keyboard, I'll make the scale 30%. And I'll move it here. And I'll open up the next file. And I'll crop that a bit, hitting M on the keyboard and selecting, leaving most of the nurse out. And up to just after the ear of the little guy sitting in the right-hand corner. Edit, Copy. And then Edit, Paste. I'm going to scale that as well, hitting Command T. I'll make that picture 15%. The next image, I'm going to open up the vaccine bottles. With the marquee tool, I'll select what I would like to copy and paste. Going to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. Command T. I'll scale this down as well. I'm going to make the scale of this 5%. And I'll just move it. I'd like to put a stroke and a drop shadow on these three images. I'll start with the bottles at the top. Selected. I'll go to FX at the bottom of the layer window, and I'll choose Stroke. I'm going to make the stroke white, and then I'm going to make the size 2. And I'll put the position as outside. Now I'll put the drop shadow on while I'm at it. And I'm going to direct the dial to about 11 o'clock. And I'll make the distance 25. And I'll make the opacity 50. I want the same effect on all of the layers. I'll right-click on the layer with the bottles, and I'll see the term Copy Layer Style. I'll select the layer with the children and the nurse, right-click, and choose Paste Layer Style. I'm going to do the same thing for the picture with Salk and the little girl. Paste Layer Style. Now before we introduce text, we're going to select these three layers in the layer window by holding the Shift key, and we'll go to the upper right hand corner of the layer window and let's choose Merge Layers. Now they all appear on one layer. At this point I'm going to get rid of the default white background because we already have our background. This will make the file easier to manage. When we get that animating, it will have less layers to deal with. Now I'm going to import the header text named Hero Text. Going to File, Open, herotext.png, and I'll copy and paste that into my composite. Select all, Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. With my Move tool, I'll put it in the upper left-hand corner. Now we're going to put Jonas Salk's name below this in its own text layer. Hitting T on the keyboard. I'll make sure that my text is white. And with my cap lock on, I'll click inside the document and type in JONAS SALK. I'll make it larger by selecting all, clicking in between the characters and hitting Command A. And I'm going to make the type font 30 pixels. I'd like the text Jonas Salk to stand out against the background. It's blending in with the white stars. Going to my layer window, I'll go down to the FX and I'll choose Outer Glow. Clicking on Outer Glow, I'm going to make it black. I'll make the opacity 100%. and I'll reduce the spread to about 2, and then I'll make the size 20. And now it's much easier to read against the background element. Now I'm going to copy and paste Jonas Salk's bio into my Photoshop file. I'll select all the text, hit Command-C to copy. Going into Photoshop, I'll click on the T. I'll drag a box. Now be careful when you introduce a new text layer, because what can happen is if you've got one selected already, it may try to edit that one. So I'm going to click on the layer below where the title text is because it's rasterized, and hitting T on the keyboard I can click and drag now the type box I want to put in, and then I'll hit Command-V to paste. Now I want to select it all and change the type size. Clicking anywhere inside of the text box and hitting Command-A will select all the text. We're going to change the point size to 18. And I want to make sure that the spacing is correct between that. Going up to the top of the user interface, I'm going to click on the little page icon with the lines on it. I'll click on it and I'm going to get the character window. In the character window, I want the spacing to be the same as the type size. So that can be achieved by punching in 18 in this box. And now everything's properly spaced. Now I want to be able to read that clearly, just like his name and the title text, American Hero. In the layer window, I'll right-click on Jonas Salk and I'll choose Copy Layer Style. Then I'll click on the layer where I just put his bio and right-click and choose Paste Layer Style.